Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a rapidly developing and highly controversial story that has captured global attention. Reports claiming that US-supplied ATACMS missiles have struck a key Russian airbase, leaving President Vladimir Putin in shock. In this video, we'll break down what has been reported, what it means strategically, and why this incident could reshape the dynamics of the conflict. We'll keep every paragraph short and easy to follow, so you can understand the full picture without getting lost in the technical details. The first wave of reports began circulating through both Ukrainian and Western sources, suggesting that long-range ATACMS missiles were used to target a sensitive Russian airbase deep behind front lines. This immediately raised questions about how such an attack was carried out and whether the strike represented a significant escalation in Western support for Ukraine. For many analysts, the surprising part was not only the strike itself, but the choice of target, which had long been considered a high-value strategic location for Russian aircraft and missile operations. Initial satellite images allegedly showed smoke, debris, and damaged structures, though the authenticity of these images has not been fully confirmed. Still, some military observers noted that the patterns matched what would be expected from ATACMS strikes, which are known for their range, precision, and destructive capability. Even without full confirmation, the possibility alone was enough to trigger a wave of speculation across global media and political circles. Putin's reaction, as reported by sources close to the Kremlin, was described as a mix of anger and disbelief. Russian officials have repeatedly warned that long-range Western weapons striking targets inside Russia would cross a red line. If the reports are accurate, this would be the first time such a red line has been crossed so directly. Russian state media attempted to downplay the event, but online discussions grew quickly, with many Russians questioning how Ukraine could reach such a deep military location. The airbase reportedly hit plays an important role in Russia's logistics and aviation strategy. It is believed to house bombers, reconnaissance aircraft, and support units. Damaging or disabling parts of this base could significantly disrupt Russia's tactical flexibility in the region. Some analysts argue that Ukraine may have chosen the target specifically to send a message. Deeper strikes are now possible, and Russia's rear area assets are no longer safe. Meanwhile, U.S. officials declined to comment directly on whether ATACMS were used in this specific case. However, they emphasized that Ukraine has the right to defend itself and to use any supplied weapons against legitimate military targets. This statement, while broad, added fuel to the speculation that Washington may have quietly approved deeper strikes than previously acknowledged. On the Russian side, the Ministry of Defense released a short statement claiming that all incoming missiles were intercepted and that no serious damage occurred. But this explanation has been met with skepticism, especially in light of videos posted by local residents showing bright flashes in the sky and loud explosions. Although these eyewitness accounts are difficult to verify, they suggest that something significant took place. Ukraine, as usual, was more indirect in its response. Officials did not officially confirm the strike, but several statements hinted that long-range precision attacks would continue as long as Russia maintains military operations on Ukrainian territory. Ukrainian military spokespeople also reiterated that Russia's airbases are used to launch attacks on Ukrainian cities, making them legitimate targets under the laws of war. The reported strike has also raised questions about NATO's position. Some European countries have been reluctant to support any actions that could lead to direct confrontation with Russia. But after months of Russian missile attacks on Ukrainian infrastructure, the mood in Europe appears to be shifting. A growing number of leaders are now arguing that Ukraine must be allowed to hit back effectively, especially against airfields used to launch attacks on civilians. Strategically, if the reports are accurate, this may be one of the biggest blows to Russian military confidence since the early stages of the conflict. Airbases are among the most heavily defended sites in any country, and successfully striking one sends a clear message. It suggests not only advanced weaponry, but also precise intelligence and coordination, factors that could indicate deeper Western involvement. For Putin, this event could not have come at a worse time. Internally, Russia continues to face pressure over mobilization, economic strain, and declining public trust. Internationally, Moscow is trying to portray itself as strong and in control. A successful attack on a major military asset, especially by Western weapons, challenges that image directly and publicly. Russian analysts on state television expressed concern that the situation could escalate further if longer-range weapons continue entering Ukraine. Some even demanded retaliation against Western supply routes or advisory centers, though such suggestions remained speculative. Still, the tone of the discussion reflected anxiety that Russia's military may not be able to protect key assets as effectively as previously claimed. Western military experts point out that ATACMS strikes are extremely difficult to intercept. Their high speed, low flight path, and evasive maneuvers make them challenging targets for standard air defense systems. If Ukraine now has a steady supply of these missiles, Russia may need to reposition aircraft or move them farther from the front. This would reduce Russia's operational range and slow down future air campaigns. Another important aspect is the psychological impact. Striking deep inside Russia undermines the Kremlin's narrative that the war is distant and under control. When explosions happen near key bases, ordinary citizens start questioning the government's promises of safety and strength. This could increase pressure on the Kremlin to respond forcefully. There are also geopolitical implications. If the US truly supplied advanced ATACMS with extended range, this suggests a growing willingness by Washington to toughen its stance. For months, the US avoided providing weapons that could strike inside Russia, worried about provoking escalation. But if that policy is shifting, it signals a major change in how the West views the conflict's long-term trajectory. At the same time, some analysts warn that the situation is extremely delicate. Any significant Russian retaliation against NATO interests could trigger a dangerous spiral. This is why most governments have remained cautious in their public statements, even as they privately consider how to support Ukraine more effectively. The alleged strike also highlights the growing role of technology in the conflict. Precision missiles, satellite surveillance, real-time targeting data, and advanced guidance systems are reshaping modern warfare. Conflicts are no longer fought only on the front lines. They involve breach capabilities that target infrastructure, logistics hubs, and command centers. This makes every strike more impactful and potentially more destabilizing. In Ukraine, morale reportedly increased after news of the strike began spreading online. Many Ukrainians see this as evidence that their country can defend itself more aggressively and push back against Russia's larger military. Social media posts from Ukrainian soldiers celebrated the possibility that Russian aircraft may have been destroyed or damaged, though these claims remain unconfirmed. In Moscow, the atmosphere was much different. Online discussions showed frustration among pro-war bloggers, many of whom criticized the Russian military for failing to protect key assets. Several influential military commentators demanded immediate improvements in air defenses, dispersal of aircraft, and stronger countermeasures against long-range missile threats. The reported attack also revived debates about Russia's overall strategy. Some observers argue that Russia has become too reliant on large, fixed infrastructure like major airbases that are now vulnerable to modern precision weapons. Others believe Russia underestimated Ukraine's ability to adapt and innovate with Western support. Either way, the strike may force Russia to rethink its military positioning. Meanwhile, diplomatic reactions have been cautious but significant. Several European nations quietly praised Ukraine's self-defensive actions, while others continued urging restraint. China, one of Russia's closest partners, issued a routine call for dialogue and peaceful resolution, avoiding direct mention of the strike. This silence suggests that even Beijing may be uneasy about Russia's escalating difficulties. Economic markets also reacted subtly. Russian currency and defense stocks experienced slight fluctuations as investors tried to predict whether the incident could lead to wider instability. While the immediate impact was limited, analysts noted that repeated incidents like this could undermine investor confidence in Russia's long-term stability. For military planners, one of the biggest questions now is whether this strike represents a one-time operation or the beginning of a sustained campaign. If Ukraine can repeatedly hit deep Russian targets, this could change the entire landscape of the conflict. Russia may need to relocate assets far from the border, increasing logistical challenges and slowing down operations. Another angle is the message to Russia's allies and adversaries worldwide, demonstrating that advanced Western weapons can penetrate Russian defenses, could influence political decisions in other regions. Some countries may feel more confident supporting Ukraine, while others may reevaluate their relationship with Moscow. There's also speculation about whether Russia might retaliate with long-range weapons of its own. Russia has the capability to strike deep into Ukrainian territory, and has already done so multiple times. However, escalation carries risks for both sides, and Russia may avoid moves that could trigger more direct Western involvement. Inside Russia, ordinary citizens appear divided. Some support stronger retaliation, while others worry that the conflict is spiraling beyond control. The idea that advanced Western weapons can strike inside Russia challenges the government's assurances and increases fear of further incidents. The incident also raises questions about intelligence cooperation. To execute a strike of this magnitude, Ukraine would likely need detailed information on aircraft positions, fuel storage, and air defenses. This level of intelligence suggests close collaboration with Western partners who have advanced surveillance technology. If proven, it would signal deeper involvement than previously acknowledged. Global reaction online has been explosive. Discussions, debates, and analyses have flooded social media platforms, with users expressing everything from excitement to concern. Many see the strike as a major turning point, while others warn that the situation could become far more dangerous. The internet has become a central arena for shaping public perception of the conflict. Moving forward, Putin faces a difficult choice. Responding aggressively risks direct confrontation with NATO. Responding too softly could be seen as weakness, which might damage internal authority and strategic credibility. This dilemma makes the situation unpredictable and tense. Ukraine, on the other hand, is likely calculating its next move carefully. Every strike carries political consequences, and Kiev must balance pressure from Western allies with the need to weaken Russian capabilities. If the strike is confirmed and effective, Ukraine may see it as a model for future operations. For the United States, the situation is equally delicate. Washington wants to support Ukraine without triggering a broader conflict with Russia. Supplying long-range weapons was already a controversial decision, and the political debate in the U.S. will intensify if these strikes continue. European countries are watching closely. Some nations, particularly those near Russia, feel increasingly threatened. Others worry about economic disruption and political instability. The balance between supporting Ukraine and preventing escalation is becoming harder to maintain. In the industrial, military world, the reported strike has sparked renewed